Hello everyone, my name is Javiera Araneda. I'm from Chile. I work as the expansion director at Startup Chile. And today in this learning tool from ENRICH Inlect, we're going to be talking about and also understanding the business and innovation ecosystem in Latin America. Specifically in this module, we are going to be discussing what Latin America has to offer to European entrepreneurs and innovators that are looking for internationalization. Today, the main topics that we are going to be discussing is, first of all, why Latin America? Why should European entrepreneurs and innovators be looking and be interested in Latin America? Also, what some of the incentive programs and opportunities that are out there for foreign startups within the different countries of Latin America. And finally, we will be discussing and exploring a little bit about the four main markets and the most attractive markets within Latin America. So let's just begin. Why Latin America? Why should you guys be interested and looking at and maybe be curious about Latin America and its ecosystem? So first of all, there are 20 countries in Latin America which represent over 650 million people. So this is a big and very interesting market that you could eventually tackle with your startup. Also, there has been 47 unicorns that have arisen from different countries of Latin America, such as Corner Shop, Kavak, Nubank, Notco, Confio, De Local, Tienda Nube, Betterfly, and Melius. And this is really interesting and relevant because these are startups from different countries within Latin America and also that represent different industries. So it's a testament to the ecosystem and how it's been able to also boost the development of startups. The fact that today we can say that we have 47 unicorns until 2022. Also, there has been a significant rise in investments for startups in the past 5 years. Specifically, in 2021, there was an $18 billion in capital flow for startups in Latin America, which represents an increase in 6%, 6 times on what was invested in 2028. Also, for startups, talent is key and super relevant. And in Latin America, 87% of new tech graduates would like to work for a startup. So it's a huge potential source of talent and specifically tech talent that it's really key for tech-based startups. And also from this new tech graduates, 83% of them would like to open a startup. So if you are looking for a co-founder, this information can also be very interesting. And last but not least, amongst the emerging regions, Latin America is amongst the cheaper of them. And this is relevant because not only the cost of living is lower, but also the cost of starting a business, the salaries, the cost of development, everything is a little cheaper than in other parts of the world. Have I got your interest? I hope I have. I hope you're getting more and more curious about Latin America because now we are going to be talking a little bit about different what you will find in Latin America and the incentive programs and opportunities for foreign startups that are available in Latin America. So first of all, in the Latin ecosystem, you are going to find many acceleration programs, incubators, VC funds, such as Startup Chile, Endeavor, Platinus Ventures, Kavak Ventures, 500 Latam, and Google for Startups. So it's a really attractive ecosystem that it's going to have a lot of potential and a lot of key stakeholders that could be able to support your business in its different stages. Also, all this stakeholders of the ecosystem are hosting events that are really region focused. So you're going to be in an event in Colombia and you're going to have people not only for Colombia, but from Chile, from Mexico, from different parts of the region that are going to be coming to these events. So it's a region that's very much connected. Also, in terms of the government support, there is a lot of government support for startups. The governments of the different countries in Latin America have been very focused on some countries boosting the development of startups. So we have from tax incentives to business startup facility, access to financing, and for earlier stage startup, also support in business education and training tools. So there is a lot of interesting opportunities and possibilities that the governments are offering for startups. Also, as any emergent region, Latin America has a lot of problems that are looking for solutions. Some problems that may be solved in other parts of the world, Latin America has them still. As you know, for startups, problems equal opportunities. So there's many opportunities for startups to fall in love with one of these problems and just aim to solve them with their solutions. And the main industry that present like opportunities for startups in general and foreign startups are fintech, e-commerce, health, education, logistics, and of course the agro industry. So this is a little bit about what you will find in LATAM and the different things that it has to offer. Now, in regards to the most attractive markets for startups in Latin America, we're going to be discussing four: Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, and Chile. So we're gonna kick things off with Brazil. Brazil is the largest economy in Latin America and is one of the 10 largest in the world. So it has a huge market and a huge internal market, and it's really interesting and attractive for startups to look at Brazil as a potential market. Also, it was ranked first startup ecosystem in South America, so there is a lot of development in the startup and innovation ecosystem in this country. Also, 38% of the people declare themselves as entrepreneurs, so it's also interesting that there is a big number of people who want to have their own businesses and have this mindset. So this is also relevant in terms of what the like-minded entrepreneurs that could be in this ecosystem. And as a specific program that could support startups, we have Startup Brazil, that it's a public program that promotes and supports the development of startups through financial services, training, and also through specialized mentors. So this is a public program that could support your startup in the different stages of development, and also have financial resources and also specialized mentors that could really connect you with the Brazilian local market. Next up, we have Mexico. JP Morgan said that Mexico is the best avenue to gain exposure without taking too much risk. This is interesting because Mexico has the US right next door and the rest of Latin America really close. So it's a really interesting market to explore and to expand to. It's also one of the countries in the region where FDI, that it's foreign direct investment inflows, were least affected in 2020. And in the same line, in 2020, there was a record in investment in Mexican startups. So it's really interesting what is happening in terms of capital inflow to Mexico and Mexican startups. And in terms of specific support for startups in Latin America, we have 500 Startups LATAM. There's 500 Startups Global, and 500 Startups LATAM is based in Mexico. And it's a venture capital fund that was founded in 2010 and that is investing in early stage startups that are developing their solutions in Latin America. So also it's important to check out 500 Startups LATAM. Next up, we have Colombia. Colombia's information technology sector is the third largest in all of Latin America, which for, of course, tech-based startup is an interesting fact. Also, there are numerous co-working spaces, incubators that have been established in the main cities in Colombia. And this is something interesting and a bit different that Colombia has in regards to other countries of Latin America, because many countries in Latin America have the tendency to being a little bit centralized with most of the activity happening in the capitals. But in the case of Colombia, this is a little bit different, and they have not only Bogotá, but also Medellin and Cali, that are cities where really thriving ecosystems, innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystems. So you have different opportunities and places within Colombia to develop your solutions from. And in regards of specific support for startup, we have Impulsa Colombia, which is a public entity that offers financing support programs to entrepreneurs and startups in the different stage of their development. So also, whether you are launching off your startup or you are a little bit more advanced in its development, Impulsa Colombia could be a good ally for you if you're developing your solution from Colombia. And last but not least, and not to play favorites, but this is my home country, we have Chile. Chile was ranked first place among the most innovative economies in Latin America in 2020. in 2022. So this is an interesting fact because there is innovation that is thriving from Chile. Also, it is the leading country in digital connectivity, which of course for tech-based startup is a very relevant fact, the fact that it's leading amongst the region in digital connectivity. Also, we have almost 37% of Chileans who declare that they work in some way with startups. So this is a testament of what the ecosystem is and how people are working from startups, but also from companies with startups or from acceleration programs or for different stakeholders from the ecosystem that are working with them. So it's really interesting and sees how the ecosystem is connected. Also, and very relevant for female founders, Chile is the third developing country in the improvement of gender inequality between 2009 and 2020. So we in Latin America still have a big gap in gender equality, but Chile is the third that has improved more since this year. So that's also interesting. And we in Chile are so much looking forward to having more and more female founding startups. And last but not least, as a program that supports entrepreneurs, we have Startup Chile. Startup Chile is a public acceleration program that supports startups in also different stages of their development, but is focused mainly on early stage startups. It's agnostic in terms of nationality and industry, and it gives entrepreneurs access to funding, to an acceleration program, and specifically and interesting for foreign entrepreneurs, it gives a two-year work visa and a soft landing program for them to land in Chile and from Chile scale to the rest of Latin America. So this was a bit of what I wanted to talk to you about today. I hope this information was useful, and I hope you're very interested in checking out the possibility of starting your business from Latin America. Thank you very much.
Hello again, and thank you very much for participating in this class and this topic. It's a pleasure for us to have you with us in our program. So I would like to thank you again and just say that the Enriching LAC Center, it's an association that's located in Latin America. And obviously we put together, as I mentioned before, we put together Europe and Latin America. As a center, we coordinate this, we coordinate the services, and we are at your disposal to support you in any time, in any sense, to make possible our main objective, which is innovation, internationalization, and make sure that we come to the reality and projects that will benefit not only our business and our companies, but also the whole humanity. Thank you very much for being here with us. Bye-bye.